So I want to speak a little bit about what this evolutionary impulse is that I'm speaking about. And so this is very, very exciting, and this is really the foundation or the essence of this new interpretation or this new contextualization of enlightenment that I'm speaking about and that I teach. Now, when I speak about enlightenment, I'm speaking about the Eastern Enlightenment. So very typically and traditionally in the Eastern Enlightenment, the spiritual impulse is usually interpreted and has been traditionally interpreted as a desire to transcend or go beyond the human experience, to transcend the experience of thought and cognition, to transcend the awareness of time, and also to transcend the body. And ultimately, it's the desire to transcend the experience of being trapped in a physical body, trapped in a thought process, and trapped in the time process. And so most of the traditional enlightenment really is about transcendence, and some of the most popular kind of exponent of the traditional enlightenment would be someone like Eckhart Tolle and his Power of Now teachings, which, as powerful and as authentic and genuine as they are still basically about transcending the process, transcending the life process. And I see that really as being very problematic, because I don't really feel that we were born. I don't feel that we were born, or that, can I use the, I know this is a very, can I use the word God in this? Is it cool? All right. Sometimes I have to be careful. I only have an hour today, so he, she, or it. So then I got it covered. So I don't think that God created the universe. It doesn't make any sense to me that God created this universe. The universe was created, as far as we know, about 14 billion years ago, or 13.7 or 14 billion years ago. It's never made any sense to me that God would create the universe so that about 14 billion years into the process, very highly evolved sentient life forms would emerge that had this very highly evolved capacity for self-reflective awareness that we have. Self-reflective awareness means you have the capacity to be aware of awareness, to be aware of consciousness, right? Dogs and cats don't have that capacity. Birds and alligators don't have the capacity. As far as we know, only human beings really have a highly developed capacity for self-reflective awareness. And the reason why self-reflective awareness is so important is because it's only through a highly evolved sentient life form like us that the energy and intelligence that initiated the creative process, which is what God is, because if the manifest universe emerged out of a big void, if there was a big explosion and something came from nothing, there seems to be an energy and intelligence that initiated that explosion, that caused it to occur, and has created this big trajectory, which has become the evolving universe, which we are all products of. We have been produced by a cosmic evolutionary process. We are all part and parcel of it, and the degree to which we engage with the life process is the degree to which we are engaging with the very process that produced us. So we, from a non-dual point of view, or from kind of an enlightened point of view, when you really get this, you really begin to see that every aspect of your humanity, including your capacity for consciousness itself, has been produced by this cosmic event, and the cosmic event that has made your experience of consciousness possible gains the ability to behold itself or become aware of itself through you. In other words, if you weren't here, if highly evolved sentient life forms weren't here, and I mean, I assume that we're not the only ones that there are in the expanding universe, but just for the sake of the argument, let's say we were, even though I already said I don't think we are, but if we were, how would the energy and intelligence that initiated the creative process, that created the universe, be able to behold itself? Because you all know there is no cosmic being. There's no Old Testament Father God up in the sky. Neither is there a cosmic being that exists outside the process that's guiding the process. God is the energy and intelligence inherent in the process that caused this process to occur, and that's driving it right now. And this is one of the reasons why we're at such a very interesting or tipping point in the whole evolutionary creative process. And this is one thing that everybody wants to know. Are we going to take responsibility for what's actually happening here? Because up until fairly recently in human history, when in the kind of before the modern era, it was believed that there was a higher, there was a great being in the sky who was driving the process and who could turn things on and make things happen. And now we're beginning to realize that that being doesn't exist out there. That being exists within the process itself, and that being becomes aware of himself, herself, or itself through us. So the degree to which you awaken and you become aware of what consciousness actually is, and you become aware of this impulse, you become aware of this godlike impulse. And the godlike impulse I'm speaking about is not something that you can experience or become aware of as long as your own experience is trapped within the confines of your own personal ego. But as you all know, and I'm sure you've all heard many times, and I'm sure many of you have experienced from time to time, moments when the fears and desires and conceptual filters that make up the personal ego become temporarily they become transparent, and depending on how transparent they become, one becomes aware of the fact that there's something very big going on here that one, most of the time, doesn't seem to be aware of. And of course, when you have those kinds of experiences, they really blow your mind, because you realize, I've been asleep for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. I had no idea how big this was. But when you become aware of how big this is, it really does change just about everything. And in my own case, I had my first initiation into this kind of perspective when I was like 16, when I was a teenager. I just kind of had some kind of spontaneous visitation from the unknown. The doors of perception opened for no reason that I can particularly understand, and I really did have my mind blown.